926, Streetz 94.5, Atlanta's new hip-hop station. Turn the lights on. Yeah, you hear a whole bunch of people saying that. Where did that come from, Rico?
I used to hang out in this club in L.A. called Area, and it's Greystone now. That's where everybody go Greystone now. I used to hang in a club called Area, and they would play this song by Pink Floyd, which is one of my favorite bands, and it's called The Wall. And when they played this particular song, all the lights would be off. But when they get to the part when they say, "Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone," all the lights would go crazy. They would start turning on. So I would be like, "Turn the lights on." I say it to myself. I look like a dork. You know what I mean? So one day I was in the studio and I just started saying it on the records. And my good friend Mams Taylor, he was like, "Yo, you should say that in all your records." So I just started doing it and it stuck. And what's funny was one of the publishers that I was with when I was with EMI, he don't know I know it, but he was going around saying like, "Yo, Rico ain't gonna never play no songs and keep putting that stupid Turn the Lights on."
Oh, wow.
I think what broke it was I wrote the theme song for Sex and the City, the movie, right? So when you go see them, when you go see that movie, the first thing Fergie says is 1, 2, 3, turn the lights on.
Yeah.
So that was like that opportunity for people to feel comfortable with it. And I'm sitting across from Sarah Jessica Parker at the premiere, and I'm watching her like, "Turn the lights on." So this is gonna work.
It's gonna work. It's gonna go.
I think I did it. I think I did
it. Michelle Williams from Destiny Child. I did her album, her first secular album. I did the entire album. And what people don't know is how much that broke me was because she went and played that album for Jay-Z and Beyonce. And every record they would be like, "Who wrote that one?" Like, Rico. "Who wrote that one?" Rico. "Who wrote that?" Rico. So next thing you know, Beyonce called me.
Wow.
And then I did most of the Sasha Fierce album. So on Sweet Dreams, when you hear Beyonce say, "Turn the lights on," people follow it. So when they heard B saying it, it was like,
"Oh, it's official."
It's cool. I'm gonna say "Turn the lights on," and then Usher was saying it, and everybody. So it got to a point where I didn't even have to say it no more. Even Tip, he was like, "Rico told me turn the lights on."
Right.
I didn't even have to. I branded something, and it's before Neo and Sean Garrett and Dream. Myself, Esther Dean. Songwriters weren't popular. It was a production game. It was all track guys. So a guy who made a track would be more popular than a guy who sat in the studio for hours, wrote the song, produced the vocal, arranged the music, did all this stuff. So I just wanted to give people something to know who I was and recognize me, and that's what the whole tag was about.
And we know so much about you now, but I want to go back. Because what people don't know is that, well, I mean, a lot of people who know and have followed your career, but Usher was the one that kind of took you under his whole Us Records and Take Me Back There.
I always tell people that two people responsible for my career is God first and then Usher. Like I owe God everything, obviously, but Usher, he's always going to be my brother for that reason. But what happened was I was signed to his label, Us Records, as a rapper because I rap, more. First, you know what I mean? So I went to his office when I got signed, and I'm like, "Yo, where the money at?" Like, this is what I saw on TV growing up. I need they forgot to mail me my stuff. He's like, "Nah, but it don't work like that." So he's like, "Look, I need some money. I ain't gonna lie, my whole family see I got a record deal. It's crazy. I need some money." So he said, "Look, I could give you some money, but you're spending it, and then you're gonna need more money. Why don't I give you an opportunity to make your own money?" And back then I was one of the few rappers, this is in 2003, so I was one of the few rappers who would put melody in their rhymes. Like, everybody does it now, you know what I mean? Not saying that I was the pioneer, nobody stole anything from me at all, because obviously they didn't even know who I was.
Right.
But back then I would do it, and Usher saw that, so he said, "Yo, you should write songs, so why don't you write this song?" He gave me this track that Just Blaze did, and I wrote this song called Throwback, and that was the first song I ever wrote, and that was on the Confessions album, and then I co-wrote a song called Seduction with Jam and Lewis, and they were on the Confessions album, and those were the things that made me know that I had an ability. It's like a kid who could jump out the gym, but he never jumped. So as soon as you throw him the alley-oop, he windmill it, and you'd be like, "Wow, I didn't know I could do that." And that's what it was with the songwriter. I had no idea I had the ability until Usher opened that door.
So God used him as a vessel to tell you that you are a prolific songwriter.
Absolutely, and then it was my way in. So now, years later that I'm stepping in as an artist, I learned so much and I developed so much of who I was. Like, even back then, I didn't know who I was as an artist. I wanted to be Jay-Z. I wanted to be this guy. But then I had to develop my own sound and my own idea of who I was, and it took for me to write for all these different people. And it was like I put all these things in a pot, and it became who I am today.
Yeah. Before we go to break, Rico, who is the one person that you've written for that people would be like, "You wrote for him or her"? Who would be that person?
It's a guy. I want y'all to research this. It's a group called Aventura. You remember when Drake said Spanish girls love me like I'm Aventura?
Yeah.
Well, it's like humongous bachata group. You which is a Spanish, it's like Latin music.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote this song called Promise for Romeo Santos, and it was like #1 for like 19 weeks. And I also wrote his new single that just came out. It's called Odio, and it's already #1 after like it debuted #1. So it's like the biggest bachata song in the entire world right now. A lot of people would not know that I did that.
How big was your first check?
First check.
Tell me.
I tell you, my first check that I ever got in music business, the first, I'm not gonna say the first check was only $35,000, but. You know what I'm saying? Only in retrospect, like now, you know. But I spent it in 2 weeks.
Nice.
You ever had
Just like Usher said.
35,000? Exactly. Exactly like Usher.
We know where you were.
So with Magic.
In the strip club.
Yeah, with Magic. So I got 35K, and then in 2 weeks it was gone, and I was like back broke again for like 6 months. So you ever know, like that's like the biggest.
That's real.
And then I got the next check, and I blew that again too. Like so, what happened was, you know, it was all learning experience, but I wouldn't want to say it was the biggest.
No, I'm not. I didn't ask you that. I said it first. I didn't want you to have to divulge all that information. We'll wrap things up with Rico Love coming up next on Streetz 94.5.